The planet Drakora was a strange place, where humans and dragons lived in the same lands but never truly trusted each other. The sky often shimmered with the golden scales of dragons gliding high above, while below, humans moved through their small cities, working and building, always alert to the creatures in the air. It was not an easy life, but both sides had survived together for many years, mostly avoiding open conflict. On the capital of Drakora, a large building of glass and steel rose above the city. Inside, the Galactic Council had gathered. Humans and dragons did not attend together. The council chambers were divided. Dragon leaders sat on one side, their scales glinting under the lights, their eyes sharp and proud. The humans sat quietly on the other side, their faces tense, knowing that what was said here could change their lives forever. The council leader, a tall being with soft gray skin and calm eyes, spoke first. "Dragons of Drakora," he said, his voice echoing in the chamber. "We warn you again. Humans may seem weak, but they are resilient beyond what you expect. Any act of aggression against them will bring consequences you cannot imagine." Thorne, a large dragon with dark red scales, let out a low growl. His companion, Kael, leaned forward, wings folded tightly against his body. "We have lived here longer than humans have walked this land," Thorne said, his voice smooth but firm. "They are fragile. Their tools are small. Why should we fear them?" The council members' eyes narrowed. "Fragile they may seem, but underestimate them at your peril. They adapt. They learn quickly. They will fight to survive. We have seen this across the galaxy. Do not anger them." While the dragons listened with barely hidden annoyance, the humans in the chamber exchanged worried glances. Jack Turner, a pilot with short brown hair and sharp green eyes, leaned closer to Lily Harper, a young scientist whose curiosity often led her to trouble. "Do you think they will listen?" Jack whispered. Lily shook her head slightly. "Not a chance. They think we are nothing. But if they attack, we have to be ready. Humans are stronger than they know." Outside the chamber, the city hummed with life. Airships moved between buildings, carrying goods and people, while dragons occasionally swooped close to show their presence. From above, their shadows stretched over the streets like moving clouds. Humans went about their day, some glancing nervously at the sky, others ignoring it entirely, focused on their work. Inside the council chamber, Kael spoke next. "We have never needed to fear humans. We are faster, stronger, and wiser than they are. Your warnings are unnecessary." He shifted slightly, his long tail brushing against the floor. "If they grow bold, it is their mistake." The council member sighed. "This is your final warning. We do not want bloodshed. But if humans are harmed by your actions, the council will act. Remember, their resilience is legendary. They do not give up easily." Jack and Lily watched the dragons' faces. Thorne's jaw tightened. Kael's eyes glimmered with arrogance. It was clear they did not take the warning seriously. Lily felt a chill run down her spine. "They won't listen," she said quietly. "We have to prepare ourselves." Jack nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. "We've survived before. We'll survive again. But we need to watch them closely." As the council meeting ended, the dragons spread their wings and left, their movements graceful and powerful. The humans remained behind, planning quietly. Jack and Lily walked through the council halls, discussing what they had seen. "It feels like the calm before a storm," Lily said. "Exactly," Jack replied. "And storms can be deadly if you're not ready." Outside, the sun dipped low over Drakora, casting long shadows across the city. Dragons returned to their high perches, watching over humans with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. Humans finished their work and gathered in small groups, unaware of the full danger looming above. The tension between the two species was invisible but real, a silent thread that could snap at any moment. Jack and Lily climbed to the top of a human tower, looking out at the sky. "They think we are weak," Lily said softly. "They have no idea what we are capable of." Jack smiled faintly, though it was not a joyful smile. "Then we'll have to show them." And so, the first warning had been given, but the dragons ignored it. On Drakora, both humans and dragons sensed a shift, though only a few understood its meaning. The future was uncertain, and the planet held its breath as the tension between two very different species grew stronger. In the distance, the sky darkened with the approach of dragons, and the humans of Drakora felt, deep in their hearts, that their true test had only just begun. The early morning sun bathed the cities of Drakora in a soft golden light, but the peace was fragile. Dragons had begun to move more boldly, swooping closer to human settlements than ever before. Jack Turner was already in the cockpit of his small scout ship, eyes scanning the skies. He could see Thorne and Kael flying in formation high above the city, their wings cutting through the clouds with an easy grace. "Something feels wrong," Jack muttered to himself, gripping the controls tighter. He adjusted his ship to follow the dragons at a distance, careful not to be noticed. On the ground, Lily Harper was already working with a small team of engineers and scouts. They were examining new defensive designs for the city, using leftover materials from abandoned facilities. "Jack's right," Lily said as she looked at a holographic map of the city. "They're testing us. They're seeing how far they can go before we react." Across the city, dragons swooped down, their shadows darkening the streets. They did not attack yet, but their presence alone was frightening. Humans paused their work, looking skyward, wondering what would happen next. Small children clung to their parents, and merchants hastily closed their stalls. Then the attack came. Thorne let out a deafening roar, and several smaller dragons dove toward a human warehouse. Fire licked from their mouths, burning through storage containers and machinery. Panic swept through the streets. Jack moved quickly, calling out instructions over the city's emergency channels. Civilians, move to shelters. Defense squads, assemble now. On the ground, Lily directed teams of engineers and volunteers. Block the exits. Create barricades. Use the water drones if necessary. Humans scrambled to obey, working with determination even in fear. Though the dragons were faster and larger, humans had one thing they did not: clever thinking. Jack's ship swooped down close to the dragons, firing small stun pulses from his energy rifle. The blasts were not strong enough to harm the dragons seriously, but they distracted them, breaking their focus. Thorne roared in irritation, turning to face the small ship. "Annoying little creatures," he muttered, shaking his massive head. Lily noticed that the dragons were not coordinating well. "They are overconfident," she told her team. "We can use that. Focus on traps near the edges of the city. Make them chase shadows." Volunteers quickly set up energy nets and temporary barriers. A few drones hovered above, ready to fire non-lethal pulses if the dragons came too close. The first dragon collided with a barrier, crashing heavily onto the street. It let out a surprised roar and took off again, slightly wounded. Nearby humans cheered quietly. Though the damage to their city was bad, this small victory gave them hope. Jack and Lily worked together, coordinating air and ground defenses. "We can't let them think this is easy," Jack said. "If they think we are weak, they'll come back stronger." "They already are stronger," Lily replied. "But we're faster in thought. Watch their patterns. They always make the same mistakes." The dragons, frustrated and humiliated by the human resistance, regrouped. Kael shouted commands, trying to reorganize their attack. "These humans are clever," he said, his voice low with anger. "They adapt too quickly. They are not like other planets we have conquered." Jack noticed Kael's strategy shift. "They're changing tactics," he said. "They're learning from us. We have to be ready for anything." Despite the chaos, humans continued to fight with ingenuity. Some used ropes and pulleys to redirect falling debris to block dragon paths. Others rolled barrels of flammable liquid to distract the dragons, while Lily and her team triggered energy traps to slow their movement. Even as buildings burned, humans refused to run. Their determination surprised the dragons at every turn. Hours passed, and by the late afternoon, the dragons finally pulled back. They had caused destruction, but not enough to break the human spirit. Thorne landed on a distant cliff, his scales glinting in the sun. "They are stronger than we thought," he said, his voice dark with anger. "Next time we must strike harder." Kael's eyes narrowed. "We underestimated them. That was a mistake we cannot repeat." Meanwhile, humans counted their losses but also celebrated their small victories. Jack and Lily met at the top of a partially destroyed tower. Below them, smoke rose from the damaged warehouse, but civilians had been safely evacuated. "They didn't expect us to fight back," Lily said, her voice tired but firm. "They'll remember this. Humans don't give up." Jack nodded, looking toward the horizon where dragons circled above. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We'll need to be smarter, faster, and stronger if we want to survive. But we can do it. We have to." The sun began to set over Drakora, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Dragons flew back to their distant caves, plotting their next moves, unaware that humans were already planning for the battles to come. On the ground, the people of the city worked through the night, rebuilding barricades and reinforcing their defenses. They had survived the first clash, and though fear lingered, courage and determination burned even brighter. The warning from the council had been ignored. The dragons had attacked, thinking humans were weak. But Jack, Lily, and the people of Drakora had shown that humans could fight back. And as night fell over the city, one truth was clear. Humans would not bow to fear, and the dragons would soon learn that underestimating them was a mistake they would regret. After the first clash, the humans of Drakora knew they could not remain on the defensive. The dragons had attacked, testing their strength, and the humans had survived, but only barely. Jack Turner and Lily Harper understood that the next battle could be much worse. They called a meeting with the city's leaders and engineers to plan their next steps. In a hidden chamber beneath the city, Alex Grant and Maria Lewis spread out blueprints and small mechanical models. "We have to use every advantage we can get," Maria said, pointing to a small diagram of a drone. "These drones can track dragon movements, stun them briefly, and give humans time to react." Jack leaned over the table, studying the plans. "We can't fight them head-on. They are faster, stronger, and bigger, but we can outsmart them. Use traps, decoys, and quick strikes." Lily nodded. "We can also study their patterns. Every dragon has a habit, a way they attack or defend. If we understand them, we can predict their moves." Humans began gathering resources. They scavenged parts from old machinery, converted abandoned buildings into defensive posts, and trained volunteers to handle drones and weapons. Everyone had a role. Some repaired barricades, some prepared emergency supplies, and others learned how to fire energy pulses. The city became a hive of activity, determined to prepare for the next dragon attack. Meanwhile, Jack and Lily went on reconnaissance missions. They flew in scout ships, observing dragons from a distance. Thorne and Kael flew in tight formations, practicing maneuvers and occasionally hunting smaller animals. Jack noticed something important. The dragons were confident, but they had predictable patterns. "See that?" he said to Lily. "Every time they circle a settlement, they follow almost the same path. We can use this." Lily studied the holographic maps on her tablet. "If we place traps and drones along these paths, we can catch them off guard. We don't need to destroy them. We just need to slow them down and protect our people." Over the next several days, humans worked tirelessly. Jack trained pilots in new formations, teaching them to coordinate quickly and avoid dragon attacks. Lily taught engineers how to deploy energy nets and drones efficiently. Even children helped by sounding alarms when dragons appeared in the distance. The city became a living, breathing defensive system. Dragons continued to watch from afar. Thorne and Kael grew frustrated with the humans' resilience. "They are learning," Thorne said, his voice low with anger. "We hit them once and they adapt. This is unusual. We must be careful." Kael's eyes narrowed. "They are clever but still small. We are patient. The next time we attack, they will pay." Despite the looming threat, humans' confidence grew. They had survived the first attack and learned from it. Each day of preparation made them stronger, more organized, and more united. Even ordinary citizens began to see themselves as warriors, ready to protect their homes. Jack and Lily spent time talking with families, encouraging them and explaining the plans. "We can't just hide," Jack told them. "We have to be ready to fight if they come back. But we are smarter now. We have tools they don't expect." Lily added, "Humans always find a way. Dragons forget this at their own risk." One evening, after a long day of preparations, Jack and Lily climbed to the top of a tower, watching the sunset. Dragons flew far above, their wings reflecting gold and red in the fading light. "It's strange," Jack said. "I used to think dragons were unstoppable, but now I think we have a chance." Lily smiled faintly. "We're small, but we're resourceful. That's what makes us dangerous. They may have power, but we have intelligence, and we work together." As night fell, the city lights glowed across Drakora, and the humans felt a sense of unity they had never known before. They were no longer just survivors. They were a force, ready to face the dragons again, and this time they would not be caught off guard. In hidden caves and high cliffs, the dragons discussed their next moves. Thorne's eyes gleamed with fury. "Humans are cleverer than I expected," he said. "They survived our first strike and learned quickly. But we will crush them. We will not fail again." Kael nodded. "We will show them who is truly powerful. The council warned us, but we do not fear humans. We will act, and they will regret ignoring the dragon's might." Unseen by the dragons, humans continued their preparations, turning ordinary materials into clever defenses, small machines into weapons, and fear into courage. Jack and Lily worked tirelessly to coordinate everyone, testing new strategies and building confidence. The first clash had been a warning. Now humans were ready to take the next step. They had learned the dragon's weaknesses, discovered their patterns, and strengthened their own defenses. The people of Drakora were no longer passive. They were active, prepared, and united. The tension between humans and dragons grew thicker each day. The dragons believed they were superior, yet humans were no longer the simple creatures they once seemed. With every drone deployed, every trap set, and every plan tested, humans edged closer to proving that their resilience was more than just survival. It was the beginning of their rise. The night was quiet, but the air was heavy with expectation. Dragons above, humans below, both species preparing for a confrontation that would decide the future of Drakora. One truth was becoming clear. The next battle would not be the same as the first, and humans were ready to show the dragons what they were capable of. The morning air was sharp and cool over Drakora, but the humans were ready. Jack Turner stood on the edge of a city platform, looking toward the distant cliffs where dragons often roost. Beside him, Lily Harper checked the final settings on a series of energy nets and automated drones. Today, humans would no longer simply defend, they would strike. "Are we ready for this?" Jack asked, gripping his control panel tightly. Lily nodded, her green eyes steady. "We know their patterns. We've trained our teams. We've planned every move. They won't expect this." From the cliffs above, Thorne and Kael watched the city below. "They think they can fight us?" Thorne rumbled. His massive red scales glinted in the sunlight, and his wings stretched wide as if to fill the sky. "They are bold, but boldness is dangerous." Kael circled slightly, watching the humans scurry across the streets, seemingly preparing something. "They have learned quickly, but learning cannot match power. We strike and this ends." But the dragons underestimated the humans. Jack's small squadron of pilots took to the air quietly, following the preplanned route to lure Thorne's patrol into a trap. Below, volunteers activated the energy nets along the predicted path. Lily's drones hovered silently, ready to disorient the dragons when the moment came. The dragons dove, their wings cutting through the wind with terrifying speed. Thorne led, confident that humans could not match them. But Jack and his team maneuvered carefully, staying just out of reach. Then, as predicted, the dragons entered the trap. A net of glowing energy shot up from hidden platforms, tangling with Kael's wing. The sudden shock made him roar in frustration and lose altitude slightly. Another drone discharged a pulse that disrupted Thorne's focus, forcing him to veer away from his intended target. The humans cheered quietly. Their first strike was working. Ordinary citizens had gathered at vantage points, ready to help with distractions, flare signals, and other small defenses. It was a coordinated effort unlike anything the dragons had expected. On the cliffs, Thorne bellowed. "What is this? They move too quickly, they strike too cleverly. How can these tiny creatures challenge us?" Kael struggled to regain control, circling desperately. "It is cleverness," he growled. "They plan and react in ways we did not foresee. We must retreat, but not yet. We need to regroup." Below, humans pressed their advantage. Jack's squadron swooped again, luring the dragons closer to the city. Lily activated more energy nets, designed to temporarily immobilize the dragons. Several smaller dragons became entangled, flapping their wings wildly in confusion. Volunteers guided them toward harmless but secure holding zones, ensuring no human was at risk. Alex Grant and Maria Lewis coordinated the drones from the control room. "Keep their attention on the decoys," Alex shouted. "Don't let them see our main squads." The dragons realized too late that they had underestimated the humans' planning. Thorne tried to break free, but the nets slowed him down, making him a target for precise pulses from drones. Kael roared in anger, trying to free himself while keeping the others in formation. Jack and Lily exchanged a glance. "This is working," Lily whispered, her voice full of relief and excitement. "They are not invincible." Hours passed in a tense battle of wits and speed. Humans did not fight with brute strength. They fought with intelligence, coordination, and clever use of technology. The dragons, though strong and fast, were confused and frustrated. The city, though partially scarred by previous attacks, held firm. By late afternoon, the dragons began to retreat. Thorne's pride had been wounded more than his body, and Kael's frustration was clear. They flew to distant cliffs, wings tired but spirits wounded. Below, humans cheered softly, helping one another check on small injuries and damaged equipment. Though the city was not unscathed, the first real victory against the dragons had been achieved. Jack stood atop the highest platform, looking toward the retreating dragons. "They are learning," he said. "We're showing them that humans are not weak." Lily nodded. "And they will remember this. We've proven that planning, cleverness, and teamwork can match raw power. We are stronger than they expected." Even the citizens who had stayed behind felt the change. Children whispered about bravery, and adults smiled at one another with new hope. The city had survived, but more than that, it had struck back. Back on the cliffs, Thorne growled lowly, his voice trembling with anger. "Humans are cleverer than I thought. We cannot underestimate them again." Kael nodded grimly. "Next time, we must prepare for their tricks. They have shown us something dangerous. They will not run." That night, as the city quieted, Jack and Lily met in the control room. Maps and drones surrounded them, still active and ready. "Today was the start," Jack said, his tone firm. "We've shown them humans can fight back." Lily added, "And they will come again. But we are ready. Every victory makes us stronger. Every lesson makes us smarter. We are not just surviving anymore. We are rising." The sky over Drakora darkened with the setting sun, and though dragons still watched from above, humans felt a new sense of power. They had faced the creatures thought to be invincible and had not only survived, they had struck a blow. The first victory was small, but it was a beginning. And on Drakora, both humans and dragons would remember this day. One truth was clear. Underestimating humans was a mistake that dragons would soon regret more than they could imagine. The sun rose over Drakora, casting long shadows across the city. Humans had celebrated their first victory, but the air was tense. Jack Turner and Lily Harper knew it would not last. The dragons were angry, humiliated by their first defeat, and now they were preparing a massive strike. "They will come harder this time," Jack said as he looked at the maps spread across the control table. "We need every weapon, every trap, and every person ready." Lily nodded, adjusting the energy grid settings on her tablet. "We've tested everything we can, but they'll find new ways to attack. We have to anticipate them, not just react. The dragons gathered on distant cliffs, planning their assault. Thorne's scales shimmered in the sunlight as he spoke to Kael. "They have tricked us once," he said, his deep voice filled with anger. "They are cleverer than we expected. But cleverness does not win battles against strength. Today we will crush them." Kael spread his wings wide. "We will not make the same mistake. Every city, every settlement will feel our power. They will remember the dragon's might." Below, humans continued their preparations. Volunteers reinforced buildings, repaired damaged barricades, and trained with energy weapons. Alex Grant tested new drones capable of firing longer-range pulses, while Maria Lewis worked on mobile energy traps that could move with the humans during battle. Jack and Lily flew over the outskirts of the city in their scout ships, observing dragon movements. Clouds of dust rose from distant cliffs as dragons prepared to launch their attack. Jack tightened his grip on the controls. "They're coming sooner than I thought," he said. "Then we make the first move," Lily replied. "We don't wait for them to strike. We set traps and control the battlefield." The dragons descended in massive numbers, their wings creating gusts that knocked humans off balance. Fire licked from Thorne's mouth as he roared, scattering civilians in every direction. Kael led a squadron of smaller dragons, diving between buildings and breaking defenses with sheer force. Humans fought back, using everything they had learned. Energy nets trapped some of the smaller dragons temporarily, while drones fired pulses that disoriented others. Volunteers guided citizens to safety, using barricades and shelters to block direct attacks. But the dragons were relentless. Thorne tore through walls, smashing structures and creating chaos. Kael's squad hunted the drones and disrupted human formations. Despite the humans' clever tactics, the dragons' raw strength was overwhelming. Fires spread through streets, and smoke filled the air, making it difficult for humans to coordinate. Jack maneuvered his ship to intercept Thorne, firing carefully aimed pulses. The dragon roared in frustration, but Jack's attacks only slowed him slightly. On the ground, Lily activated mobile energy traps, causing some dragons to stumble and forcing others to change their flight paths. "This is bad," Alex Grant shouted over the comms. "They're stronger than we expected. We're losing control in some areas." Maria Lewis responded quickly, directing drones to reinforce weak points and creating distractions for the dragons. "We can still hold them. Focus on the traps, not the buildings." Humans began to use new strategies. They funneled dragons into narrow streets where energy nets and drones could work most effectively. Fire from dragon attacks was redirected using reflective panels, preventing some of the worst damage. Every human moved with a purpose, turning fear into courage and desperation into clever defense. Hours passed in a tense struggle. The dragons caused significant destruction, but humans refused to surrender. Civilians helped where they could, using every tool at their disposal to slow the dragons and protect their city. Jack and Lily coordinated from the air, directing teams with precise timing. "Now, deploy the mobile nets," Lily shouted. Drones moved swiftly, trapping several dragons and disorienting others. The humans were tired, covered in soot and sweat, but their determination burned stronger than ever. By late afternoon, the dragons began to retreat, though they had left a path of destruction behind. Fires still smoldered, and many buildings were damaged, but humans had survived. They had suffered losses, but they had also proven they could endure even the fiercest dragon assault. On a high platform, Jack looked toward the cliffs where Thorne and Kael watched from a distance. "They came at full strength," he said, "and we survived. That counts for something." Lily wiped sweat from her brow and nodded. "We can't stop now. We've learned more about them today. Every mistake they made teaches us how to fight back next time." Even amidst the smoke and destruction, the city felt a spark of hope. Humans had faced overwhelming power and lived. They were not defeated. They were learning, adapting, and growing stronger. Thorne roared into the wind, anger and frustration burning in his chest. "These humans, they are more dangerous than I imagined." Kael's eyes were sharp and calculating. We underestimated them. That was a mistake. Next time we will be smarter. Next time we will not fail. On the ground, Jack and Lily surveyed the city with determination. We have survived, Jack said. But this is only the beginning. The next battle will come, and we must be ready. Lily looked out over the city, her mind already working on new strategies. We will be ready. Humans don't give up. We fight, we adapt, and we win. That is who we are. As night fell over Drakora, fires smoldering and smoke drifting into the sky, the humans of the city rebuilt, repaired, and prepared. They had survived the dragon's fury, and though the battle had been hard, they were more united and clever than ever. The dragons had attacked with power, but humans had responded with intelligence and courage. And both sides knew it. The next confrontation would be even greater, and the humans of Drakora were no longer the weak creatures the dragons had assumed. The city of Drakora was quiet in the early morning, but the calm was deceptive. Humans had survived the dragon's massive strike, and now they were ready to take the fight to their enemies. Jack Turner and Lily Harper moved through the streets, checking on teams of volunteers and engineers. Every human was part of the plan, and every plan had been tested and refined. We've learned their patterns, Jack said, pointing to a holographic map. They move predictably when attacking, and they respond to distractions in the same way every time. Today, we hit them where they least expect it. Lily adjusted the settings on several mobile energy traps. Our drones can guide them into traps, and the humans on the ground can use decoys to split their forces. This is more than defense, it's strategy. Alex Grant and Maria Lewis coordinated the new drone squads, their fingers moving quickly across control panels. The smaller dragons will be lured first, Alex said. The larger ones will follow, and then the main trap will activate. High above, Thorne and Kael observed the city, unaware of the humans' preparations. They survived our last attack, Thorne said, his eyes narrowing. They are cleverer than I imagined, but they are still weak. Strength wins battles, not cleverness. Kael circled above him. We'll crush them again, but we must be cautious. They will try to trick us. As the dragons swooped down toward the city, Jack and Lily put the plan into motion. Drones buzzed above, guiding the smaller dragons toward narrow streets where energy nets and traps had been set. Volunteers ignited small decoys, drawing dragons away from civilians. The humans moved with precision, knowing every step of the plan. The first smaller dragons fell into the traps, wings tangled in energy nets and pulses disrupting their flight. They thrashed and roared, confused and frustrated. Thorne and Kael realized too late that the humans had anticipated their moves. Jack maneuvered his scout ship to intercept Thorne. Pulses from the ship disrupted the dragon's balance, forcing him to veer off course. Lily activated mobile traps along the path, creating obstacles that slowed the dragons further. Look at them, Lily shouted to Jack, pointing at the chaos below. They can't stay organized. Their strength isn't helping them here. On the ground, humans worked together flawlessly. Civilians moved supplies to safe zones, guided drones through traps, and used small weapons to defend their streets. Every person contributed to the plan, turning fear into courage and strategy. Thorne and Kael roared, frustrated by the humans' clever tactics. These creatures, they are more dangerous than I imagined, Thorne said. We cannot just rely on power. Kael nodded. We must regroup. They are unpredictable and they have learned too quickly. We will fight again, but we need a new approach. Despite the dragon's strength, humans had gained the upper hand. By coordinating drones, traps, and decoys, they forced dragons into areas where they could not use their full power. Smaller dragons became entangled, and even Thorne struggled to maintain control. Jack and Lily exchanged a glance. This is working, Jack said, adrenaline rushing. They think they are superior, but we are showing them what humans can do when we fight together. Hours passed in a tense battle of wit and strategy. The dragons caused damage where they could, but humans' ingenuity minimized their impact. Even when dragons tried to escape or adapt, humans anticipated their moves, turning their attacks against them. By late afternoon, Thorne and Kael retreated to distant cliffs, wings exhausted and pride wounded. Humans had not only defended their city, they had outsmarted their attackers and inflicted losses that the dragons would not forget. On a high platform, Jack surveyed the city. Smoke rose from small fires, but the damage was contained. "We did it," he said quietly. "We proved that brains can beat brute strength." Lily smiled, her eyes bright with determination. "And we're not done. Every time they attack, we learn. Every time we fight, we grow stronger." Even citizens who had only helped in small ways felt the change. They had seen dragons fall into traps, drones disable attackers, and humans work as one. Courage and hope spread through the city like wildfire. Thorne and Kael looked down from their cliffs, their eyes burning with fury. "Humans. They are cleverer than I thought," Thorne muttered. Kael's jaw tightened. "We underestimated them. That was a mistake we will not repeat. Next time, we will crush them completely." But the humans of Drakora were not intimidated. Jack and Lily worked through the night, analyzing the battle, improving strategies, and repairing drones and traps. They had seen the dragons' weaknesses and discovered their strengths. The city slept, but the humans' minds were awake. They knew another attack would come, and they would be ready. For the first time, they understood that their resilience, intelligence, and unity made them more than survivors. They were a force. And in the skies above Drakora, dragons prepared for the next confrontation, unaware that humans had grown stronger with every battle, smarter with every trap, and more determined with every victory. The balance of power was shifting, and the dragons would soon learn that underestimating humanity was the gravest mistake they could make. The city of Drakora was alive with activity before dawn. Humans had survived several dragon attacks, learned their patterns, and were now ready for a bold move. Jack Turner and Lily Harper moved through the streets, inspecting drones, energy nets, and traps. Today, they planned to strike not just defensively but decisively. "Today we changed the game," Jack said, scanning a holographic map of the cliffs where the dragons nested. "If we can disrupt their command, they'll lose coordination, and we can turn the tide." Lily adjusted her tablet, analyzing dragon flight patterns and attack routes. "We know their habits. They react the same way to disturbances. We'll hit their leaders first, force the rest to scatter, and use our traps to control the battlefield." Volunteers, engineers, and pilots all worked together. Alex Grant oversaw drone teams, making last-minute adjustments, while Maria Lewis coordinated ground defenses. Civilians prepared decoys and signaling systems. Every human had a role, and every role mattered. High above, Thorne and Kael watched the city, unaware of the humans' preparations. "They are becoming bold," Thorne rumbled. "But boldness will not save them." Kael tilted his head, scanning the horizon. "We've learned from our mistakes. This attack will be decisive. Their tricks will not work again." As the dragons descended, Jack and Lily put their plan into motion. Drones flew ahead, creating false trails and leading smaller dragons into energy nets. Decoys lit up streets, drawing dragons away from civilian areas. Jack's scout ship led the strike on Thorne, carefully avoiding direct confrontation while firing pulses to distract and slow the dragon. Lily activated mobile traps, blocking retreat paths and forcing the dragons toward preset zones where humans could strike safely. Thorne roared, caught in the human web. "What is this trickery?" he shouted, struggling against the energy nets. Kael tried to rally the remaining dragons, but they faltered, confused by the coordinated human attack. Several smaller dragons crashed into traps, while others were forced to retreat in disarray. On the ground, humans moved with precision. Volunteers directed drones, maintained barricades, and guided civilians to safety. Engineers activated new pulse weapons that targeted the dragon's wings, slowing their movements without causing permanent harm. Every action was calculated, every step executed with teamwork. "This is working," Lily whispered, watching drones immobilize another dragon. They are not as organized as we thought. We've got them right where we want them. Hours passed in tense action. Dragons thrashed and roared, but humans stayed calm and coordinated. Even as buildings suffered minor damage and fires broke out, humans focused on strategy, not panic. Every setback was anticipated, every move countered with planning. By late afternoon, Thorne and Kael were exhausted and frustrated. Their coordinated attack had failed. Humans had struck at their command and scattered their forces. They had not only survived, they had forced the dragons into chaos. Jack and Lily met atop a high tower, surveying the battlefield. "We've done it," Jack said quietly. "We've shown them that humans can take the fight to their leaders." Lily nodded, eyes bright with determination. "This is more than a victory. It's a message. Humans are not weak. We think, we plan, we act, and we fight together." Citizens who had stayed behind watched in awe as dragons retreated to distant cliffs, nursing their pride and wounded wings. The humans of Drakora had achieved a feat thought impossible. They had challenged the dragons at their command and won. Thorne growled lowly, his deep voice filled with rage. "Humans, they are more dangerous than I imagined. We underestimated them. We cannot ignore this." Kael's eyes burned with fury. "We must rethink our strategy. They have grown stronger, smarter, and more united. We cannot strike recklessly again." Even as the dragons retreated, the humans did not rest. Jack and Lily oversaw repairs, reinforced traps, and studied drone performance. They analyzed every movement, every weakness, and every success. Every human felt stronger, more confident, and more determined. The sun set over Drakora, casting long shadows across the city. The smoke from minor fires mixed with the golden light, painting a scene of resilience and hope. Humans had fought back, struck decisively, and forced dragons to retreat. Jack looked out across the city. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The dragons will return, but now we know our strength. We are clever, united, and ready for anything." Lily placed a hand on his shoulder. "And they will never underestimate us again." Today, humans proved that brains, courage, and teamwork can stand against power. Drakora belongs to both humans and dragons, but we are no longer the weaker side. As night fell, the city slept but remained vigilant. Humans knew the dragons would return, but they had gained confidence. They had faced the enemy's leaders, survived, and struck back. And above the cliffs, Thorne and Kael watched, knowing that the humans of Drakora had grown into a force to be reckoned with. The stage was set for the final confrontation. Both humans and dragons had learned lessons from the battle so far. And when the next clash came, it would decide the true power over Drakora, and only one side could claim victory. The morning sun rose over Drakora, bright and clear, but the calm belied the tension in the city. Jack Turner and Lily Harper moved through the streets one last time, checking drones, traps, and defenses. Today, they planned not only to defend, but to deliver a decisive blow that would finally show the dragons that humans could not be ignored. "Everything is in place," Jack said, scanning the map of the cliffs where Thorne and Kael nested. "We've studied their patterns, anticipated their moves, and prepared every trap. Today, we strike with precision." Lily adjusted her tablet, her green eyes sharp and focused. "We've learned from every battle. We know their weaknesses, we know their strengths, and we know their pride. Today, we use all of it." Volunteers and engineers worked quickly, finalizing drone formations and mobile energy nets. Civilians were ready with decoys and signaling devices. Every human had a role, and every role mattered. Above the cliffs, Thorne and Kael watched the city, unaware of the humans' final preparations. "They are bold," Thorne said, his red scales shimmering in the sunlight. "But boldness will not save them. We will finish this today." Kael circled above him. "We attack as one, strike hard, and crush them completely. No mistakes this time." The dragons descended in a coordinated assault, their wings whipping the air into gusts. Fires erupted across streets as dragons unleashed their fury. But humans were ready. Drones swarmed the attackers, disorienting them with pulses and light signals. Energy nets sprang from hidden platforms, tangling wings and slowing their movement. Jack led a squadron of pilots toward Thorne, firing precise pulses that disrupted the dragon's balance. Lily activated mobile traps to cut off escape routes, forcing dragons into zones where humans could control their movement. Now, Lily shouted. Volunteers detonated decoys, creating smoke and confusion, forcing the dragons to split their forces. Even Thorne and Kael struggled to maintain control as smaller dragons were captured or slowed by traps. The city moved as one. Civilians guided trapped dragons into holding zones, engineers recalibrated drones in real time, and pilots maneuvered carefully to avoid direct combat while striking precisely. The humans' teamwork and strategy overwhelmed the dragon's raw power. Thorne roared, struggling against the nets, his pride wounded. What trickery is this? Humans. How are they so clever? Kael barked orders, but even he was frustrated. The humans had anticipated every attack, countered every move, and forced dragons into chaos. Their coordination was unmatched, their courage undeniable. Hours passed in intense struggle. Fires burned, buildings were damaged, but humans pressed on. Every dragon that fell into a trap, every pulse that slowed a winged attacker, brought victory closer. Finally, Thorne and Kael, exhausted and humiliated, retreated to distant cliffs. Their attack had failed completely. Humans had defended their city, captured several dragons, and inflicted a strategic defeat that would be remembered. Jack and Lily stood atop the highest tower, watching the dragons vanish into the distance. "We did it," Jack said, voice full of relief and triumph. "They can't ignore us now. We've shown them humans are not weak." Lily smiled, her eyes bright with determination. "We've not only defended our city, we've proven our intelligence, courage, and unity. Dragons will think twice before attacking again." Citizens cheered, helping repair minor damage and tending to the wounded. Children ran between streets, waving to drones as if they were part of the celebration. The humans of Drakora had survived every attack, outsmarted powerful dragons, and emerged victorious. On the cliffs, Thorne and Kael brooded, pride and frustration burning. "Humans. They are more dangerous than I imagined," Thorne said. Kael's voice was sharp. "We underestimated them. That was our greatest mistake. But we will return. We will not forget today." Back in the city, Jack and Lily walked among their people, encouraging and thanking them. "This is the moment we've trained for," Jack said. "We fought as one and we won. Drakora belongs to all who protect it." Lily added, "And we will remain vigilant. Humans have proven we can rise against any challenge, and dragons will remember that underestimating us is a mistake they cannot repeat." As night fell, the city of Drakora glowed with lights, smoke from small fires mingling with the stars above. The humans had survived, learned, and grown stronger. They were no longer the passive species that dragons assumed. They were clever, united, and unstoppable when working together. Above the cliffs, dragons flew in silence, aware that the humans had changed. The council's warning had been clear: do not anger humans. Thorne and Kael had ignored it, and now they faced the consequences. On Drakora, humans celebrated quietly but with pride, knowing the war was not over, but the tide had turned. They had proven that intelligence, courage, and unity could overcome brute strength. They had survived the dragon's might, and they had emerged victorious. The story of Drakora would be remembered. The dragons had underestimated humans, and humanity had risen with fire, cleverness, and courage. The warning of the council had been ignored, and humanity had shown that no warning could hold back their will to survive and thrive.